Hi there, this is Ruben from Dutch Round 1. Thanks again for coming by. Thanks for watching another episode. As always, I appreciate your time and I appreciate your support. Today we have another vocabulary lesson. So, do you have a job interview in Dutch? Well, these Dutch phrases will help you out. But before we do that, remember to give the like if you like this content, subscribe to the channel if you want more, and let me know in the comments if this was useful for you or not. But without much further ado, let's go straight for our vocabulary lesson. So basically, how will we do this? Well, you'll see the Dutch word or the Dutch phrase, and then underneath you will see the English translation. Sometimes I'll give a little bit of extra information. Sometimes we'll just move on to the next word. So the first one is actually het sollicitatiegesprek. Alright, it's a long word. Het sollicitatiegesprek is the job interview, right? So that's the first one. And then we have the resume. The resume is het cv in Dutch. It's coming from Latin curriculum vitae. So het cv is basically the abbreviation of it, and that would be your resume. We continue, and then basically this is the first question you'll sometimes get during a job interview, and that's waarom wil je hier werken? Why do you want to work here? And then it's up to you to find a good response to that. Alright, we continue, and then the next one people might ask is wat zijn je sterke punten? Wat zijn je sterke punten? What are your strengths? And then, of course, sometimes they also ask the opposite, and that would be wat zijn je zwakke punten? What are your weaknesses or your weak points? Right? So we continue, and then another question which you'll probably get during a job interview in the Netherlands and probably all over the world is heb je veel ervaring? Do you have a lot of experience? Heb je veel ervaring is do you have a lot of experience? And then, of course, we have solliciteren voor. That's basically to apply for. Solicit in English is something completely different, so it might be a little bit of a false friend. But solliciteren voor in Dutch is actually to apply for. We continue, and then another question which you might get is kun je iets over jezelf vertellen? Can you tell something about yourself? Kun je iets over jezelf vertellen is can you tell something about yourself? We continue, and then of course for a job interview there has to be a job vacancy, and that would be de vacature. De vacature is the job vacancy. We continue, and this is also quite important, you know, of course, the salary. So how much do you want to earn is hoeveel wil je verdienen. Verdienen is to earn. How much is hoeveel. Hoeveel can also be how many. We continue, and then of course your salary, it's quite close to English. That would be het salaris. Het salaris is the salary. We continue, and then this is also a question they will sometimes ask, is basically waarom wil je van baan wisselen? Why do you want to change jobs? Okay, waarom wil je van baan wisselen? Why do you want to change jobs? Okay, so before we go to the next one, if you want to support the channel and you want to keep me fresh for continuing to make those videos for you, well, go to the description box, click on that, buy me a coffee link, and I will greatly appreciate that coffee. Anyway, let's continue. So the next question you might get is wanneer kan je starten? When can you start? Wanneer kan je starten? Alright, we continue, and then of course if you want to grow, if you have ambition, they will ask ben je ambitieus? Are you ambitious? Ben je ambitieus is are you ambitious? We go to the next one, and of course if you work for a company, most of the time you'll have to work in a team, so they will want to know whether you like to work in a team or not. So they'll ask you in Dutch, werk je graag in een team? Do you like to work in a team? Werk je graag in een team? We continue, and then of course, you know, they will ask you about your qualities. So that would be, the good qualities would be goede eigenschappen. Goede eigenschappen or good qualities, right? We continue, and then of course, you know, a company will only open from that time in the morning until that time in the evening, and these are the opening hours, and that are the openingsuren. de openingsuren, de opening hours. We continue, and then of course, if you apply for a job, well, you apply for a job with an employer. And an employer, how do we say that in Dutch? Well, that would be de werkgever. If you translate it literally, werk is work, gever is giver, so it would be the work giver, right? That would be the employer. And if you have an employer, you also need an employee, and the employee is de werknemer. Again, if you translate it literally, werk is work, nemer is taker. So literally the work taker. That would be your employee. Alright, we continue, and then of course when they decide to hire somebody, when a company decides to hire somebody, they will say iemand aannemen. That is basically to hire someone in Dutch. Right, we continue, and then sometimes when you work in a company or when you work independently, sometimes you'll have to work overtime. So how do we say overtime in Dutch? Well, that would be de overuren. De overuren, that would be the overtime. And then of course we have the verb ontwikkelen. Ontwikkelen is to develop. If you start working from the bottom to the top, that means basically you're developing as a professional worker. So ontwikkelen is to develop. And then also we have de ontwikkeling, that would be the noun. Then de ontwikkeling is basically the development or your development as a professional. Alright, so basically these were the words and phrases that have something to do with job interviews, if you want to apply for a job. So I hope you found them useful, and I hope you can do something with it, and I hope if you have a job interview soon that you will get that job. I want to thank you again for watching. Remember to give the like if you like this content, subscribe to the channel if you want more, and let me know in the comments if this was useful for you or not. I want to wish you a great rest of the day, and stay tuned for another episode of Dutch Round 1. Ciao.